let's just sew whatever. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are going to be making this super quick clear tote bag. I made this with a printed TPU vinyl that I had available on my website on August 1st. So you can see the white printed on the wrong side and then the rainbow scissors. This bag is so much fun. I used 1.5 inch wide webbing on the top. These pieces are cut to 24 inches long, and then the tote bag pieces were cut to 18 inches tall, 18 inches wide, and then 2-inch corners cut out of each piece so that the bottom of our bag would be about 4 inches deep. So I am so in love with the way it turned out. I think it's so cute, and it did not take long at all to make. Super quick sew, super fun like gift idea or just something to re-spark your creativity. I hope you enjoy. Okay, I'm making such a quick tote with webbing and clear vinyl. Really quick, just want to run this lighter across the edge of my webbing just to prevent as much fraying as possible. Hi, Connor. I have cut my straps to 24 inches long. You could absolutely go longer if you wished to do so. All right. These are 18 by 18 squares. I've cut out a 2-inch corner along the bottom. I think I want to add a little name plate. I have so many of these cork and leather nameplates from the Heartwood and Hide, and I think this would just be super fun. Quick little addition. Ooh, that purple kind of hides though, so I don't know, maybe I want this brighter blue. The brighter blue is fun, but I'm thinking purple. Probably gonna add this. So I'm gonna find the center, so I'm just gonna fold this in half. I am using a clear TPU vinyl, so it's super malleable. It's not going to hold a crease for very long, but long enough, you know what I mean? So I'm just lining up those centers, making sure it's nice in place. Even enough, and then I'm going to stitch that down. I'm using a stitch length of 4.5 to attach this, and then I'm going to pull my threads to the back. You really don't want too much of a mess, especially since it's clear vinyl. All right, and then I'm gonna grab my handles. And I want these to be, I accidentally snagged my webbing on with my rotary cutter. I was so upset. So I want these facing down, wrong side facing up. I'm going 5 inches in from the side edge. And make sure that your handle isn't incorrectly looped. And I'm just gonna clip these into place. And then I'm gonna sew a box stitch that's about 1 inch by 1.5 inches because I'm using 1.5 inch wide webbing. So I'll just go ahead and mark out 1 inch. I'm gonna sew along the top. And again, you're gonna see all of these stitches, so you wanna make them as nice looking as possible. And the reason I'm doing a box stitch instead of just securing it into place is because I want this to be as secure as possible. I don't trust any webbing ever to not fray. Like, it's a fibrous material, so it can't be trusted. So I'm gonna sew in a rectangle, and then I'm gonna sew in an X formation. And I'm pulling the threads to the top because this is going to become the underside of the tote. Well, the underside of the straps, I should say, once we get everything sewn together. But honestly, the straps is going to take the longest of everything, which is crazy. I have made tons of tote bags in my life, but I can't recall making one completely out of like a clear vinyl. So I'm literally just making it up as I go. Working with webbing, there is a fine line between secure and compromised. If you are adding way too many small stitches, you actually end up compromising your webbing and like perforating it. So it's tricky. Polypropylene webbing is the absolute worst as far as that goes, so keep that in mind. All right, so there is the front of our tote bag. Go ahead and work on the back side. We're gonna measure, again, 5 inches in from the outer edges. If you don't like that measurement, you're welcome to try another, maybe like 4.5 or something, but I'm liking this so far. This would be a really good like pool tote size, or just like a road trip bag. I could put snacks in it. I kind of like the idea of using it as a work bag for me. So again, on this side, marking a 1 inch line so that I know how high to go. And with the vinyl being kind of sticky, and that's just the nature of most vinyls, it's not necessarily a bad thing, it just is what it is. You don't want to apply too much pressure, which will just further cause sticking, basically. So keep that in mind. The more pressure, the more it sticks versus just gliding. Pull your threads through, trim them away. You can even use a little bit of glue to help hold them in place if you would like. But now we are ready to put right sides together. So if for any reason you did not cut your pieces exactly straight, I don't know who would have done that. It definitely isn't me. But make sure you line up your handles and then kind of worry about everything else and clipping that into place. And what's nice is it's just two pieces. There's no lining to this, so I don't have to worry about all the pieces fitting together nicely. And I can see any size difference very easily by the print. Okay, so I've got that all clipped together. And then I'm gonna start on this side, and I'm just gonna use the smallest seam allowance possible, really. Maybe like 1/4 of an inch, just following that edge. Make sure you're doing a little bit of back stitch at the top so they don't come loose. It's so trippy to sew with a printed vinyl. And then you just want to join those edges together. I'm actually going to lift my needle up. You can see that my edges are uneven, and I don't want to back stitch at the start of the vinyl that's too long because I'm going to end up trimming it away, which will weaken our stitching. So I'm going to back stitch at the smaller piece of vinyl and then continue on. And then I'm getting to the other side, so I'm going to back stitch where my shorter piece ends. Yours shouldn't be shorter because you'll have measured them correctly. I don't feel that this is like an industrial only material, but it definitely is easier with my machine. So I would highly recommend a walking foot or a Teflon foot if you're using any kind of clear vinyl, but especially any vinyl. I mean any vinyl, but especially clear vinyl. All right, so I'm going to butterfly that stitch line open and square the bottom of the bag. So you just bring those open corners together. I'm going to back stitch at the start. Make sure my seams are butterflied open and back stitched well. But again, not too well, otherwise you might perforate the vinyl. So there's that fine line between just enough and too much. It's a very Goldilocks situation. We're going to trim down that excess. So we've got a nice clean edge. And then repeat that on the other side. this is so much fun to work with. Oh my goodness. This vinyl was available on my website August 1st. I don't think I have any in stock right now, but we will be getting more. Definitely some other prints, of course, after hearing feedback from everybody on how they enjoyed working with it or didn't, and etc. But I think this is so much fun. Okay, so now we're gonna work on the top of the bag, and this is where we're gonna be folding it down by 1 inch. So you can mark this out. I'm just gonna kind of use my straps as the guide and clip along, because I'm gonna be adding 2 rows of top stitching. And that's just gonna be the most secure way to finish that edge off. And like, this does have some stick to it, but not so much that it's like horrendously sticking to itself. Like, gummy isn't really the right word either, but like, it's a hard candy gummy worm feeling. I don't know. Those are also very different, but it's really cool. I'll go ahead and trim that extra bit. It's a bit much. Like, you can see it has some stretch to it. But nothing too insane. You could even try to like top stitch along the seam to butterfly it open, but I almost feel like that weakens sometimes, or can weaken. Okay, and keep in mind you definitely cannot iron this material. I'm going to top stitch along the top edge of everything first, and then go along the bottom. My stitch length is at about a 4.5. Pulling my starting thread out of the way now. And then hold on to them. Then I'm just gonna jump down and go along the bottom edge. Pretty sure that you could use a different handle type if you wanted, or you could even add like a top band of colored vinyl. That would look really cool. You could definitely use this vinyl to make that clear carry-all pattern that I have a video for. Oh my gosh, I'm so in love with this. You could add a woven label before you finish as well if you wanted. I can go ahead and trim my threads before I get there. And that is it. Okay, so now we're ready to flip this right side out. I don't need to heat it up or anything like that. It reminds me of a Barbie something or other. I really don't know how else to describe it. Push on those corners. If you are worried about the seams being weak or anything like that, you could add a little bit of binding to the edges or something, but other than that, this is finished. Oh my god, this is so pretty. And that is it for this tote bag, this clear tote bag. If you wanted, you could add like D-rings within that top seam. You could clip your keys to it. You could attach a crossbody strap, whatever you wanted. I'm just so freaking in love with it. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you don't mind Cinderella laying on the floor over there. She's fine. She's just taking a nap. She go night-night. If you enjoyed this video, let me know down below. Don't forget to subscribe and let me know if you make one of these.